I don't like it because I went and created one in was it Sony in the Sony Vegas
Mm-hmm.
because I was I oh god, when I was doing the streams with my friend, we haven't done them in like 2 or 3 months, but we did streams whenever we did streams with him. I'd have little videos playing. I made a countdown in Sony Vegas, and like, yeah, so I don't like StreamYard's version. It's too generic.
Well, if you're just joining us, we just went live. This is 97 Bravo. This is the Convergence. I am live. We're doing a mega Mando recap event. Joining me live, you heard a little bit from him, the angry Atlantean, just going now by the Atlantean. How you doing, sir? How have you been?
I've been tired and overworked. Although I'm actually
Overworked.
work's picked up a lot.
That's good.
Oh, it's great, but it's not great when you don't have time for anything.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you.
No, I'm ecstatic though. The only part of the reason I'm actually able to do this with you is because I fixed my PC. My PC's been out of commission for about a month and a half now. Shortly after I started my last video project, and the motherboard went pretty much fried, went dead, and caused a lot of issues. So, me and my buddy ordered another one. There's a stroke of luck that we actually managed to find one. For the price we found it for was like $35, and whoever I bought it from sent it up.
$35.
Yeah, new in a service kit. It's an old Dell. It's an old Optiplex. Those old office computers.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like from 2013. So I don't know where this guy kept them, but it was $35. And I got it. It was pretty much new in the box. It had everything you need to swap it out. So it must have been a service kit of some kind. A really
very
old
nice
service kit. So
very nice. Well, welcome back. Welcome back to the world of streaming. Glad to see you back in it, dude.
I love it.
That's nice. I dig your shirt.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, yeah, thanks.
It's 'tis the season, huh?
For about a month and a half. I'm trying to get my Halloween vibe on because I missed all of Halloween because of my fucking computer. So no, but
I can only imagine.
No, I'm more psyched that I can actually get back into the video production, the video and the Blender work. Speaking of which, I still have a couple things I have to render up for you that I wasn't able to do because of that. So
no worries, dude. Hey, you know what? Life and this is the thing, and we'll jump into Mando and all that fun stuff. We have plenty of time. I have, as far as I'm concerned, I'm open-ended. So you dip in and out as you need to. I'm just gonna keep going till I fall over, the power goes out. So no, yeah, I do appreciate it. Life does get in the way. I've had the last time I actually did anything, created any sort of content off of Twitter or social media was about a month ago. So yeah, this life is sort of,
yes.
I feel like doing it. When I feel like doing it, the rest, nothing's going on in the house that kind of jives with it. So yeah, life just sort of gets in the way sometimes, but I'm glad that I was able to sort of schedule this out, and we were able to hold off life and put out all those fires, and things are being handled by others right now, which is fantastic. So you were telling me during the invite that you don't watch The Mandalorian. Is that?
I've never watched The Mandalorian. I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard enough to form an opinion, but I haven't bothered to. I don't want to pay for Disney Plus to watch this bloody show. I really don't. Just because it's more or less of it's. I would watch it if I had Disney Plus, but it's more of a I don't want to invest in Disney Plus for this one show.
Now, what I will say, which is interesting, and hold that thought though, because how do I say this? You know how Netflix has it's capped as to how many devices can log in with a username and password?
Yeah.
Disney doesn't have that. I'm just throwing that out there, but please continue. Please continue. They don't have that yet.
No, but it's just it's I actually did the trial for Disney Plus when it first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And, aside from a couple of Disney original movies and maybe other stuff that I didn't quite find, there was nothing there that kept me around. I didn't want to. It's like, okay, I'm not gonna log into Disney Plus to watch Star Wars because I already have Star Wars on. Well, technically, I have Star Wars on. What do I have Star Wars on? I have Star Wars on VHS. I have 3 versions of the VHS. Actually, I think I have 4.
4 VHS versions
of the original trilogy. I have the I didn't intentionally hunt them down. It's not like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hop on eBay, I'm gonna find these really obscure VHS tapes, because I didn't know they had that many versions of the trilogy. But I think I managed to pick up the first release, not the first release, but the last release of the original trilogy. What is it? What is it? Back in 1997, before the special editions came out.
That was the
1997 Star Wars trilogies. No, not the special edition, just a regular collection.
No, the 97 ones was a special edition. That was the one that he re-released in 97. Wasn't he re-releasing them in theaters? All the 3 original?
I don't remember anything about that, because I didn't get into Star Wars until after I saw episode 1.
Yeah, I think that's the year 97 that he brought them back out in theaters.
But it was something like that. But the special editions were
those are the ones where
this one. The 1995 box set. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Is that the one with the storm? They went.
Here, I'll share the screen.
They sort of.
And then.
Yes.
That one.
Yes.
Yeah, the 19. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I said 1997, because I think the copyright was. I think they released the copyright version.
So what he did was he did this. So it was in a box set, right? 2 years later, he re-released a special edition, which had all the new special effects in it and stuff, and made a New Hope cleaner.
Yeah, these ones.
And correct. And those then came out on VHS. So that bastard, within 2 years, had 2 box sets of practically the exact same damn movies. But this one right here, I would really love to have that set before it was changed.
I don't have. Well, all right.
All it is not. It's just isn't the original artwork. It's the original films, right?
I think so.
The original.
I don't know.
Original theatrical.
Oh God, I'm not entirely sure, because I haven't. I say because I have. I didn't when I found this. I didn't find it in the box. I found the VHS separate, so it's just the tapes.
Okay.
It was at a local store, and they sell VHS tapes for like $30 30 cents a piece. Mm-hmm. And I
this is bugging me. Sorry, my cord is ridiculous. I can't get comfortable in my cord.
It's fine. It's fine.
How much did you get this for?
30 cents. I found all of you can remove the share screen now. I don't need it anymore. Oh wait, I can.
Well, I know. I just like drooling at it, but
these ones, I would say the name, but I don't think it's gonna make any sense to you anyway. But there's a local store of chains. My fucking Christ, what is wrong with me tonight? A store of chains, yes, a store of chains.
A store of chains, yes.
A chain of stores. Um, uh, in the Maine and New Hampshire area, it's just it's a Bull Moose. It's like music, it's videos, it's pretty much an all around media store, and they sell. I mean, every so often they get their hands on them. Their collection grows and it shrinks, but they sell VHS tapes. Of this. That's how I've been rebuilding my VHS collection. But you don't know what they're going to have until you go in. It's not like you can order them. It's whatever they have on the shelf. You're there. Well, I managed to find these by sheer luck on the Bull Moose shelves. So I got all of these, all four complete sets. I found because I found the one I showed you, the 1995 trilogy, first, looking for the special editions, and I'm like, you know what? I'll take it, and I bought all three of them. And then I found a little while later, I actually found all of the special editions. Like I said, no box; they were just single VHSs, and I took I found all three of those, and then later I found I don't know why they released a special edition of the special editions. I think you were talking about that.
That was the Blu-ray. When it came out on Blu-ray, there were more changes to the special edition.
No, hold on. I'm going to show you.
Isn't that where they restored Han shooting first? Was it in the Blu-rays?
I don't know.
I could have sworn the ones that. Well, because see, I'm lazy, so I don't want to come downstairs to get my Blu-rays. So if I'm upstairs, I do have Disney Plus. The kids dig it, dude, and it's on in some fashion somewhere in the house at some point during the day, But yeah, it.
God,
I like watching. I've seen the changes that they've made to the Disney Plus version. So there's the Blu-ray version, and then even the Disney Plus version.
This one. All right, I'm gonna share another. I'm just gonna open the image for God's. Oh, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Star Wars VHS. All right. All right. There we go.
Hey, Kitty Bear's in the chat. What's going on, Kitty Bear?
Oh, hello.
Mando's okay. Some illogical stupidities in it. We're going to get into some of those. Yeah, there's a nice breakdown. We're just kind of easing into the night. This is sort of like stretching right now. We're just kind of flexing our love for Star Wars.
I'm sharing another one. This one, which I think is absolutely stupid now that I really think about it. It's the special edition trilogy released again as a special edition trilogy. So it's basically special edition squared at this point.
For $8?
I don't know. It seems to be. Yeah. But
very good condition. All videos tested and work fine. I mean, for $8, they could all not work, and you could just throw it away and be like, "Nah." But if they all worked, I mean, I don't even know.
Well,
I don't even have a VHS or anything that could play it, but I'd like to have them just.
Oh well, you want to know something funny? I have that set as well. I picked up from Bull Moose. I paid 90 cents for them. 30 cents. Like I said, they're just selling VHS tapes. They're not.
Yeah, they just have the new art, and they just shrunk it.
Yeah, but that one was the one I actually found complete in the box with the sleeve and everything.
When did this one come out? Can you look down at the pictures to see if bring those images up?
It says right there, 2000.
Where? Oh shit. Okay. Never mind.
I think that was
not the only one who's not firing on all cylinders tonight.
A 2000 special edition. I don't bloody know, but it's like I have four. I ended up with four versions.
How the hell did I not see that?
It's all right, because you're too busy admiring the pictures.
I am.
You know what?
I'm thinking in my mind like I probably need to get a VHS player. And I might need to
hunt down if you really want. Search eBay for a new VCR. Yes, they sell new VCRs on eBay. And you know what? They're pricey, but if you want VHS tapes and you want them to work, it's probably worth the investment. It's a lot better.
Yeah. We got several of them. A lot of my stuff got either wrecked or accidentally sold off as stuff that. Yeah, no, that was a long time ago. Yeah, that was a dark time in our marriage. Comic books and original EU books. Original books I had bought from the 90s
that you've pretty much had.
Right. And it was a nice box. There was a nice size box, I should say. But it's all good because I'm starting to she really can't say anything when I tried to replenish the stock that I had.
Yeah.
So at least I'm taking the responsibility. I'm going to the used bookstores because I don't want the Legends banner. So I'm trying to find the original books.
Oh, they re-release them as Legends now, don't they?
They do. So if you get them through Amazon as mass paperback, it comes with the Legends banner. And so I'm trying to find the originals. And I've done some through Amazon, and there's a thing to look for. And it's hit or miss. I'd say I'm probably 50-50 with whether it comes in with a banner or not. But I don't know. I just send them back. And there are times, though, which is interesting because Amazon will say, we'll just refund you. You don't have to send it back. So now I have this book, which is brand new, and they refunded my money. So I'm just, I don't know. I'll figure something out with it. But check it out. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So we have Kitty Bear, who he's in the chat, and he says Mando's okay, right? He likes the movies. He has one VHS tape, and it's Cherry 2000, and he's using it as a mouse pad. Outstanding. All right, so here's what we're going to do, right? The idea is that you said that you looked up a little bit about the show. You said you don't watch it.
I tried looking it up a little bit.
All right.
Didn't find out very much, but
so what I'm gonna do is there's 4 episodes, and again, feel free to dip out at any time. But there's a lot of news that kind of surrounded each of these, and that's why I thought of you, was because there's a lot of opinions that can be shared about what was going on around some of these
around
the drama or whatever you wanted to call it, right?
Right.
So all right, so pretty much we're gonna go back and we're gonna start with chapter 12. All right, which is The Siege. And that is the one that was directed by Carl Weathers, and it was written by Jon Favreau, right? So this is the one where Din Djarin and the child go back to this planet Navarro, and they meet up with Carl Weathers' character and Gina Carano's character. Right, so they were friends from the first season, and now we're back for season 2, and they go back and they meet up with their old friends so that the Mandalorian can get his ship fixed. That's the setup, right. So they land on the planet, and Carl Weathers' character says, "Make it like new," and it's going to be a while, so why don't we do a little adventure while you're here? And of course, that's the premise of the show, right? And so I got some notes, and I was kind of going through them, and some of them are going to they probably won't make sense to you, but if you've watched the show, it's just kind of a fast recap of the actual show. So the Razor Crest, which is the Mandalorian, his real name is Din Djarin. The Razor Crest, it limps through space, and the child is, as the show opens up, the child is in there's an opening in the wall, and down this little corridor, which is like this big, right? Only the Baby Yoda can get down there. The Mandalorian's in the hallway, and he's looking down the corridor, yelling at Baby Yoda, like, okay, put the wire here and do this. And it's a baby. And so, of course, hilarity ensues. And smoke comes out and all that stuff. So that's how the episode starts. So okay, we're in for a little lighthearted. This is going to be a little different from the other episodes. There were some touching moments, but it didn't dip like that. Anyways, and so like I said, they get there. What's interesting though is there's the scene. So it cuts away and it does a title card, and then when it comes back, the Din Djarin or the Mandalorian and the child are sitting on boxes and they're drinking or they're having soup or tea or something like that, right? It's in these bowls and they're just kind of sipping it. Well, the Mandalorian's talking about what will need to happen. Oh, we can't fix it ourselves. We have to go somewhere. And so as he's kind of saying this, the child's looking up at him, and as the Mandalorian is finishing his sentence, because the whole premise of the first season was that the Mandalorian doesn't take off his helmet, right? And then in the last episode of season 1, he has to take it off to get healed, and the whole thing is, well, I've never shown it to a living thing, and he shows it to a droid who then heals him, and then bada bing, we get season 2. Anyway, so flash forward. The setup for that, which I thought was interesting, is I didn't notice it on the first time I watched it, but watching it on review, what happens is that while he's talking, he lifts up his helmet. The audience doesn't see it, but the child looks up and he tilts out his helmet, presumably to show this much because he drinks the soup. And the way the camera's shot, you don't actually see his face. Right. But the child clearly sees his face, which is interesting. Has the child seen his face before? Does he hide his face from the child because no living thing is supposed to see him without his helmet? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that's a thing that they'll get into for next season. I don't know. But it was just an interesting nugget that I noticed, was that I didn't notice him lift up his helmet. I saw him drinking. It kind of registered or whatever. The first time I watched it, I was kind of taking everything in.
It didn't clue you in that he's not drinking through his helmet.
Right. I just looking at something else or whatever. But the second time through, I was like, hey, wait a minute. He literally tilts it up, and I thought, oh wow. So maybe the child has seen more of the Mandalorian's face than,
maybe I'd have a feeling that the child probably sees Mando's face more than anybody else.
I would imagine, like, his guard's down, he doesn't really think about it. Maybe he turns his head and stuff, and the kid gets glances.
I think it's also a thing. Like you said, what, Mandos aren't supposed to show their face or something like that. Or is that just something he chose to do? I don't know.
We'll see. At this point in the story, we're not quite there yet, because in subsequent episodes that I'll be getting into later, there's sort of an explanation for it. But basically, at this point, we don't know why. We just know that that's what he believes.
Yeah.
But there has been discussion, to your point, online when this was being discussed through season 1. Oh, that's bullshit, man. Because in Rebels, they were taking their stuff off left and right. And in the Clone Wars cartoon, they were taking their helmets off left and right. And this guy's saying that they never take them off. Well, it became quite apparent that no one was taking into account that perhaps he comes from a different house or sect or whatever, cult. Who knows? Because we know through Rebels and the Clone Wars that even the Mandos that they were presenting through those mediums had different sects. The what was it? The Watchers or the owl? I forget. The Night Owls.
People, basically.
Exactly.
Different teams. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you had those that were for the ruling class, and you had those that ended up like in Rebels that ended up fighting with or for or being paid by the Imperials. Yeah. So, there was all that going on. But anyways, needless to say, so at this point in the show, we don't know. It's just one of those things that when having watched all 4 episodes in order and then went back and rewatched them, that was one thing that I noticed, was like, oh, well, that's cool, because we're about to find out in a later episode. But so basically what ends up happening is in where underneath, I guess like the old sewer system during season 1, where there was an enclave of Mandalorians that our Mandalorian belonged to. And every so often he would go down underneath the city and into the sewers, into the enclave, and he would meet up with other Mandalorians. The only one he truly interacted with was this character called the Armorer, this female sort of Viking warrior woman who was not only wise but acted sort of like as their leader. That's how he talked to her, and that's how she talked to him. But she made the Mandalorian armor. So he would bring, as he was getting paid through season 1, he was bringing this armor to this, like a bar is called Beskar, right? So a brick of Beskar. He would bring it to her, and she would make a piece of his armor. So that was what was going on throughout the course of season 1. And then at the end of season 1, they had to vacate the enclave because the stormtroopers, the Imperials, came in, and there was this huge, everyone got wiped out. Anyways, so I see. Yes.
Sorry. This takes place after Return of the Jedi, right?
5 years.
Why is the Empire still a thing?
So interesting. Let's touch on that just briefly right now, because that's actually one of the points I wanted to make later. We could talk on it now, because what happens is I think what they're trying to do. Did you by chance play Battlefront 2?
I have not touched any Battlefront game.
Okay.
So, let me rephrase that. I haven't touched the new Battlefront games.
The
old ones. I've never played the new. When I found out the new ones were online, or that the first new one was online only, I'm like, yeah, that can fuck itself. I don't do online only games.
Well, it's an online only game. It comes with a single player storyline. Okay.
The second one, yeah.
The second one, right. And so basically what ended up happening is, so Return of the Jedi happens, and how the Mandalorian is sort of playing it, or at the very least how I'm taking it, having played the single player game of Battlefront 2, is that there was, in the event, the Emperor, the way the game does it is that in the event the Emperor died, that the Emperor had deemed the Empire too weak to survive, having not been able to protect its Emperor.
Right.
Does that make sense? So now that he's dead and they're all still living, screw them. So he sets into motion Operation Cinder, okay, which is burn it the fuck down. And it's literally pulling the thread on a bunch of other shit, as well as it takes top tier, very highly specialized, specific Imperial officers and gives them orders all by themselves that only the Emperor to them sort of orders. You know what I'm saying? Like high level shit.
Yeah.
So the average stormtrooper is like, I guess we're out of jobs. But higher up, things are in motion, and a lot of the fleet was to go out to the unknown regions, and a lot of the other fleet was to go out to these different parts of the galaxy to find these artifacts. And we don't necessarily fully get what all of that is. What they end up doing in both the books and the game is that they allude to the fact that on how am I drawing a blank? Ray's planet, Jakku. Jesus,
fucking.
That something on that there was a force presence on Jakku, like a force, a Sith artifact or something strong in the force, whether it was a person or whether it was an artifact. It was underground, and the Emperor, before the Force Awakens, had people digging in Jakku looking for this force, this thing that triggered the spidey sense in the Emperor about Jakku. He's like, look here, type thing. He was doing that all over the galaxy
because he suddenly had the know-how, had the force.
Correct.
To do something.
Correct. So he's seeing all these things happen, right? And the point is that he's dead, and now this thing is being put in motion. Now, granted, the game came out before the Rise of Skywalker, so of course he was dead, just like he truly is in Return of the Jedi. So before Rise of Skywalker retconned it, there was this final order, and so that's what we see as far as like going in and raiding old Jedi temples and stuff like that. What became the First Order was the old Imperial remnant. And so it sort of transitioned into what would become the First Order. Everyone in the galaxy believed them to be different, but in fact, it was just a new universe.
That's about the only explanation you could draw from The Force Awakens. So basically, Disney's just retconning it into saying killing the Emperor and having Vader kill the Emperor, and which would not necessarily destroy the Empire overnight, but would likely cause them to suffer a chain of collapse. They're basically saying none of that. 5 years later, the Empire is still the Empire, even though its two chief creators are no longer there.
Right, but okay, let's take a very real example. The USSR and Russia.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's packaged different, right? It looks different.
Yes.
They say different things, but they mean the same thing. They have the same goals, but they're just going about it slightly differently than what they had been doing it in the past. What they had been doing in the past wasn't working.
Right.
So they went, okay, let's try this way. But they still have the same goal, which is world domination. Very reminiscent of what's going on with the Empire going and transitioning, supposedly, as they would like us to believe, correct, into the First Order. I'm trying to be devil's advocate, in most of my videos.
Believable. It's really not the fact that it's not believable, because I do believe it is that it would be possible. What I don't quite grasp is, like I said, unless there was some plan where, the generals took over for some reason to keep fighting the rebels. I don't know. I'm gonna fucking make my head explode.
I think ultimately what their point was, it wasn't made in the movies. Okay, they did a very piss poor job of trying to explain this in the movies.
They didn't even try to explain it in the movies. That's the thing. Because their plan was to explain it through ancillary products. So you had comics and books and bullshit that they were going to try to sell us because we were really hyped up. Now, don't get me wrong. We were completely euphoric and orgasmic that the prospect of The Force Awakens, you know what I'm saying? They put anything in front of us, we would have just bought that shit. And we did. We bought hook, line, and sinker into their bullshit, The Journey to The Force Awakens books. Like something in there was going to just give us any sort of clue what the fuck was going to happen in the movie. There's a certain level of irony. They're trying to recreate, and we're probably getting a little off topic, but
Star Wars in general.
Well, yeah.
Dude, we got until midnight Pacific time.
Oh God.
Because that's when the show starts. That's when I'm getting off, because that's when the show starts. So
what show?
We could talk about this dude.
Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian, yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know when this starts. So
the season finale is dropping on Disney Plus at midnight on
your time.
The West Coast. No, not my time. On the Pacific, yeah. So
okay.
See,
I don't.
Or 3 in the morning.
I don't know their time. Yeah,
Eastern
3 in the morning Eastern time.
Right.
Fucking Christ.
Right. So that's pretty much. So you figure out your own time zone from there.
Well, I'm on the Eastern Seaboard, so
right.
It's like if you're saying midnight, and it's like 3 Eastern time. What was I saying before?
Yeah, but what's Central? You could tell me what Central and Mountain are. What time is Central and Mountain when it's 3 o'clock on the East?
When it's 3 o'clock on the East, Central is 2.
Well, okay.
Mountain.
You're
I don't
smarter
know.
Than most.
Well, I have friends.
Extrapolate. How many time zones do we have?
God. Is Mountain its own separate, or is it?
Well, in the continental United States, we have 4 time zones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, I knew, Eastern Pacific or Eastern Central and Pacific. I
dude,
a bit
don't even sweat it. My wife, we've been here 16 years, and my wife still doesn't.
Isn't mountain sort of the area between Central and the West Coast, like right around Arizona, Nevada, that sort of strip.
Straight up, yep. Wyoming, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I knew there. I knew.
Well, Arizona doesn't change time at all.
No, I know.
Arizona and Illinois, yeah, they're
not on daylight savings time, but they're still, a time zone difference.
Yes, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. So getting back to the show, the interesting thing about the Enclave was that they went down. So basically, as it opens up, we recognize in season 2, in chapter 12, that this is where the Mandalorian Enclave was from season 1. So we recognize things like, holy shit, but there's these walrus aliens in there, and they're speaking their language, and they're obviously, some sort of criminals that have taken over where the Mandalorians used to lay their helmets. And Gina Carano's character just goes in there and just kicks the shit out of all of them, right? So Cara Dune just comes in as she's the marshal of this city, and she just goes in and just lays waste to all of them. There's 3 or 4 or some bullshit like that, and she just goes through them like water. It's absolutely fantastic. So Carl Weathers, his character is Grief Karga, okay? And he's kind of like the mayor, the administrator, like the Lando of Cloud City.
Yeah.
The administrator, as you were.
Lando, but not Lando.
No, nothing with toasters with this guy, I don't think. But the interesting thing is that, so remember me telling you about how they land and they say, oh, we'll make your ship good as new, and oh, it'll take a while, so let's go on an adventure. So as they're walking away from that little talk, like, oh, fix his ship, one of the maintenance crew take an interest in the Mandalorian and the ship. They kind of make a point to kind of show you like, oh, this guy's kind of nefarious. So you're like, oh, okay, what's this dude doing? So he's working for somebody who has ill intent. So you're like, oh, okay, let's pay attention to that. Well, anyways, long story short, I'm not going to go through it point by point. Some of these, some of the different points that I was going to make are unnecessary at this particular juncture to kind of tell you how the story is. There was the adventure, okay, that they go on, the siege. Okay, so basically what it is that Cara and Grief come to Din Djarin and they say, hey, look, there's a remnant Imperial base that is, hold on, I forget, what does he call it? But it's something innocuous, right? There's a skeleton crew. Don't worry about it. If we just get these guys out, they're too close to the town. If we just clear out this little base of a skeleton crew, then this whole city will be clear of Imperials. Din's like, all right, fine. So he jumps in and they head out. And when they get there, they're like, holy shit, this is not a depot. This is not a skeleton crew. This is a fully manned, operational, scientific military lab for the Empire, right? And what the fuck is that growing in that tube? So there's this whole thing where they walk in and there's these silhouetted humanoided shaped figures inside these things, right? Exactly, that we're to assume, or at least a lot of people. We can't see them,
like little mini Smeagol's or something.
We can't see them, so it's not like Alien 4 where there's like all these different iterations of Ripley.
Oh yeah, no,
right? No, it's not that. But we don't know. We can't see a face. Okay, it's shadowed. We kind of get the hint it's humanoid, and some people have speculated it might be Snoke. I don't think they're going to make that connection. I don't think Palpatine would entrust these fucking jokers with Snoke. I think Snoke's happening somewhere.
I don't think Snoke was ever supposed to be a clone.
I think that's what they're retconning. I think that's what I saw Rise of Skywalker twice, and I haven't seen it again. And I've heard people talking about that. That's what's mentioned in there. Now, I have problems hearing. So when I go to movie theaters, if the sound is not just right, I miss words, right? And I may have missed that shit twice. But apparently people are saying that in the movie, Rise of Skywalker, they either make an imagery reference they actually make a total reference, a total verbal reference to the fact that Snoke is a clone. And then, like Kitty Bear saying, in the episode, people have also said that when the camera shows you what our heroes are looking at, like, what the fuck is that? When they finally show what they're looking at, people have said that they've heard Snoke's music lightly play through that scene, that shot. So I don't know. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I think that little tip was actually revealed in Rise of Sky. I don't think it was ever said though. That's why I don't remember it. But
right, I know people have talked about it, but I don't remember going, "Holy crap!" Now, see, the thing is that there's unfinished Snokes,
yes,
or what appear to be unfinished Snokes in Rise of Skywalker. So, which leads us to believe that, right?
Yeah.
But again, that's on Exegol. Mm-hmm. In the unknown regions.
Yeah. Out in the middle of practically
nowhere. Where Palpatine's taking care of that shit himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's his plan. He's not letting anyone in on that. He's not letting these fucking guys do that. I think these guys are like, they're trying to prove, because I think it's the Wild West with the Imperials right now. I think that right now, without an emperor, I think that you could have grand admirals and generals not recognizing each other's ranks as revenge and having splinter factions. So I think that, like, what this guy Moff Gideon, he's searching for the child because the child is force sensitive.
Yeah.
And they're trying to take so having not watched the show, the Mandalorian is paid to go get the child and bring it to this Imperial officer in season 1. He does. And then as he's leaving, he has a change of heart, goes back, kills everybody, steals the child.
Wipes him out, takes him.
Right, exactly.
I read that one.
So that's the premise of the show. And then he's like, holy shit, what do I do with this kid? Well, through the adventure of trying to move the kid from point A to point B, he realizes this kid, he doesn't know it's force sensitivity, but he's like, this kid's a wizard, a magician, or what, he's got magic powers.
Yeah.
What do I do? And so there's this journey to find the people who will then help him find the people who will then help him find the people, that kind of thing, to get the child back with its people. That's kind of the idea. Now, is it people, the Jedi, or is it Yoda's species? That's kind of never been clarified until season 2. So there are some things, right? So in season 2, they clarify it, which is what I'll get into. Is it's in a different episode.
Yeah.
So basically, what we learn, and again, and this is a style of show too. I mean. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of shows, and you've seen them. We've all seen them, and if you get suckered in, like season 1 and 2, we're like, holy crap. But like by season 3, if they're not really doing something new with it or taking it into a logical direction, we kind of lose interest. But it's that style of, we're going to do so we have 45 minutes of show. So for 33 minutes, we're going to move the people story-wise forward extremely slowly. We're going to develop character points. We're going to tie up a little bit of stuff from previous episodes. And in that last 10 minutes is going to be the part of the show that you would have wanted to tune in for, because it's the action, it's the holy shit, it's the cliffhanger, it's the girl gets the guy, it's all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? The last 10 minutes of the show, like, that's how shows you know what I'm saying? Like, that is a serial. You're writing a serial show. So much like Days of Our Lives and stuff like that, there are beats to it. He gets his mission, he goes on the mission, he gets in trouble, and then he survives the mission, and they fly off into the sunset to the next planet.
And then it follows that same pattern over.
Right. It's like Kung Fu. Caine is wandering and he's doing great and wonderful things, right? But in this show, Caine has a kid in his pouch. That's the show. And that's, I think, sometimes that gets missed. Sometimes that's not talked about enough, is that this is a Western. This is that the man with no name. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That it is what it is. It's Clint Eastwood, and it's kind of that style, to the point where they actually bring back where Din Djarin has the spur sound when he walks, just like Boba Fett does. So you know what I'm saying? Like, all the way down to that, they just did a good job in sort of keeping to the I think the spirit of what was originally supposed to be Boba Fett, but then it kind of got altered and then kind of changed along the way. But they kind of kept some things, those similarities. So like I said, they come into this big room, right? So all of our heroes come in. They're like, what the hell is that? And they see all these tanks. Okay, they realize that we're not in a skeleton crew. This place is teeming with stormtroopers, and this is a medical facility. What the hell is going on? So they're trying to like get information from, the computer and stuff like that. And one of the guys that's with them hits a button like, hey, we have a message. And it's a message from a doctor that is contacting the main bad guy so far, Moff Gideon, and saying, hey, we need the child. We need to get more blood samples. We're all out of blood samples. His M count is the highest we've seen so far. We need to get him back. Did you catch what M? So he says M count, and everyone's like, right, because that's the
dangerous M word that nobody likes.
But they didn't say it. They said M count. So that was the thing, was like, is that a nod to we shall mention it? We'll hint to it, but we shall not say its name. That was I enjoyed that.
I don't understand why people hate that so much. It's like,
well, because it was supposed to be, I think, more energy than biological. I think it was supposed to be how he originally wanted it with the wills, and it was much more of an omnipotent, sort of energy than something that would be tangible. You know what I mean?
Wow. I
just pondering that, huh?
It's something I've actually given great thought to. I mean, I don't what I don't understand is how it diminishes it, because it doesn't necessarily explain. Because the only thing the M count more or less signifies is how much of this microscopic being just happens to live inside you. Even though they inhabit every living being in the fucking universe.
But see, what they've never,
but they've never actually covered the fact how, the connection between those things,
right,
and how people use the Force. All it mentions is it something is there that allows it to communicate. It doesn't explain where the Force comes from. It just adds another layer of, okay, well, this is how it interfaces to humans, and this is how it's like, okay, so you just added an extra step to a problem we have no fucking answer to.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it boils down to me. It's like, I don't see how that ruins it, because it doesn't explain to you where the fucking Force comes from.
Right. No, it's interface. Yes, the interface that is like all that's being referenced. Yeah. Well, see, I didn't come to that until much later. I mean, knee deep into it. I mean, even years after Revenge of the Sith, it still, excuse me, it was still a sore spot for people, and I think it didn't really hit me until after Disney bought. I was reading other things, and something caught my eye, and then I was like, wait a minute. And I went back and I watched all 3 of the original trilogy for certain key things, but I did it over a weekend. I think I did it all in one day. My wife's like, who the hell gets to just lay around and watch 3 movies in a row? I do. But so I did that, right? And what I noticed was there was a disconnect from the argument, to your point, was that what they weren't realizing was that the interface doesn't change what Obi-Wan says in his home on Tatooine, that the Force is an energy that surrounds us, binds us. You know, that he does that whole speech.
Yep.
And to your point, having an interface doesn't change.
Right. The only thing it affects is how you know whether someone's capable of being
to measure it
to that.
Correct.
You know.
Oh yeah, he's high enough. He hits the minimum.
And it's not like,
again,
it's not like.
See, this is the. Go ahead.
I was going to say, because some people are thinking of it like, oh, space wizards, like Dungeons and Dragons, wizards as in like Dungeons and Dragons, where you can just learn a fucking spell from reading a book, and bada bing, bada boom, you can use the Force. That's not necessarily how it goes. It's more or less, I don't want to say wizard blood.
Mm-hmm.
In that sort of sense, but that sort of idea, not like that not necessarily like
Harry Potter. Wasn't that some? It was, everything was hereditary. His parents were this. Everything.
But with Harry Potter, not everybody had magical blood. In the Star Wars universe, these things live in everybody, regardless of whether you're attuned to it or not.
Okay, yeah.
So
I see what you're saying.
But as I was just saying, it's one of those. It's probably not coming across as clear as I want, because it's not quite, pick up a book and learn how to do it, but it's also not quite, it's only in a specific bloodline that you can get it, and if you don't have magic blood, you're not going to have it at all.
Well, see, and that was the thing about the expanded universe before Disney. So before any of that happened, and again, it's been a while, and I'm just starting. I went all the way back. I'm actually, I'll get into that in a little bit, but the Splinter of the Mind's Eye, I'm reading that. I went that far back. Like I was like, okay, let me start reading this book. And then I was like, okay. Then I found a book that went further back, and I was like, no, the Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Do you remember that one? Do you know what that one is? That was the book that George Lucas commissioned before, if I remember the story correctly, before Star Wars hit theaters, because he wanted, after Star Wars came out in theaters, he wanted to have something that would be a continuation story to gauge interest in a sequel, because he had this sort of plan. So the book comes out hardcover, and then a few months later it comes out in paperback, and there was enough interest, and he says, okay, cool, I'm going to make a sequel. Well, he ends up throwing out like 99.9% of everything. Basically, he throws out the whole book and writes Empire Strikes Back instead. So he never really used it, right? So it would be technically non-canon, but it was their first book in the extended universe outside the movies.
Yeah.
So I have some awesome notes as to how they differ so far, but I'm not going to get into them tonight, because I'll save that for an episode of the podcast that's coming up. But okay, so we know about the M count, right? So your eyebrows go up, that kind of thing. So excuse me. The thing is like I was telling you about, I have some notes here. The Emperor's dead, right? And we go back to the whole Battlefront 2 contingency plan, trying to resurrect Palpatine or someone else. What's going on in those tanks? What's the deal? Are those the bodies that they're trying to grow from whatever they were able to save from Palpatine, or whatever that stupid story is? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where they're going with that, but I don't know if that's the direction that they're going, or if, because this was the other thing too, that some people were sort of it was like people were like shooting around it, and I was researching what they were talking about and actually found another interesting point that I thought was weird. And so, okay, basically what happened, I know. So that was kind of a preview. Basically what happened was people, so at the end of this episode, as the camera, so the good guys escape, right? They escape they escape. It doesn't really friggin' matter. But it has one of the best speeder bike chase scenes I have ever seen since the first time I saw Return of the Jedi. Remember seeing that in the theaters for the very first time? Did you see it in the theaters for the very first time?
I wasn't even alive.
You weren't even alive? Oh my God, I'm dating myself. Point being, so there I was in 83, right? In the theaters with my family. And we're watching this for the very first time, that speeder bike sequence on the big screen. It was absolutely fantastic.
I mean, I did see the movies when I was a kid, but I never saw it on the big screen. I wasn't alive.
Right.
Like 6 years after.
This was the best speeder bike chase scene since then. Like, that was like reminiscent of that. I thought it was actually extremely very cool. It wasn't very long, but it was very cool how they did it. And they bring in the speeder bikes, as they're trying to get, the heroes are trying to get away, speeder bikes. Then it's TIE fighters, it's just, they keep bringing on whatever have you. And finally the good guys get away. Then it goes back to the main bad guy. He's got an officer come in and she says the tracking beacon has been placed on the guy's ship. And the main bad guy says, does he still have the child? And the intel officer says, yes. He says, great. And then with a smile, he turns around and walks into this room that has these 6'3" armored droids that people are equating to dark troopers.
Droids that people are equating to dark troopers?
The dark troopers from the Dark Forces video game series.
I never actually played Dark Forces, but
Dark Forces is the Jedi. It was the beginning.
It was the beginning of Kal Katarn's story. I know.
Correct. Yeah.
I know what it is. I've just never had a chance to play it.
Holy crap, dude.
Well, it was just one of those where it came out where I wasn't interested in it. But it's probably one of those games I could go down and it's also one of those games I've never taken the time to hunt down because I keep forgetting about hunting it down.
Right.
So it's a Star Wars game, so I know I would play it and I know I would enjoy it.
It might be. I think it's on Steam.
I am not downloading it for the fucking PC. I mean, I am not against PC gaming, but I'd rather. I don't care for Steam all that much anyway. I'm not gonna lie. Dark Forces video game, isn't that like a series of games?
It is a series of games. It's the Jedi. It starts the Jedi Knight series. But Kitty Bear has an interesting point. He says those mechanics in this episode, worked insanely fast, fully rebuilding the ship in hours. Well, that was the trick, though. Did they fully? I mean, they may have made the outside look pretty, but did they fully repair the ship? And I think in subsequent episodes, it's not fully perfect. I think they concentrated on all the right parts that he needed in order to escape the planet, which was convenient. But I don't necessarily know if he got around to fixing the whole thing 100% perfect, but because he kind of skedaddled directly after that quickly, so he doesn't stick around after they escape. Yeah, but another interesting point that I wanted to make regarding that before we move on. Okay, so there was at least 18 dark troopers. When they pan back, I started counting. You can only see one side fully, but you get the sense that there's two rows. Mm-hmm. And we see a total of 9 on one side, which to me, there's at least 18. So there's at least 18 of these dark troopers, which is fantastic because everybody started talking about, oh my God, Kal Katarn and that kind of thing. So they start and I did too. So I don't want to sound that way. but there was really this drum for Kyle Katarn, like, holy shit, this is for sure what they're doing.
Question.
No. Yes.
Oh wait, no. What, were you going to continue?
No, there was something else, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, how would they be dark troopers? Dark troopers require the dark side of the Force. As far as we know, there's no dark side Force user.
There's two different
anymore.
There's two different kinds.
Oh.
There's the dark troopers from the Dark Forces series, which is they are basically they're cyborgs, but they're mostly droids. Okay. Then you have from the Dark Empire series, you have dark troopers, which were imbued with dark side force, dark side energy, or whatever have you. That's where I went when I saw the clones in the tanks, and then I saw them Bubbas out front. I'm like, he's trying to get the M count, or he's trying to get the blood from the kid to manipulate it to make bad guys for him. That's what he's trying to do. These bad guys that either have force abilities or force sensitivity.
Okay, that just raises more questions.
But it falls in it. Well, it pulls from the Dark Empire,
right?
And that whole thing of cloning Luke and all of that.
Oh yeah, I know. I get you. But you just said, pull the kid's blood and manipulate it. So how are you going to manipulate somebody's? Oh God!
No, I don't even want to go there. I'm not going there yet. But there's technology, obviously, we're unaware of that they're using to do this stuff. So we're just kind of like leaning forward, going, "Okay, just let us know."
Yeah,
I don't know if it, I don't know. If, I have no idea if it conflicts.
I'm hearing about this, and it all reeks of convenient ass pull. Like, oh my God! It's like, do you really have?
Well, I think what they do is they weave just on the edge of it.
Well,
without getting too deep.
Here's another question: where did they learn to clone? Because as far as I know, in the whole Star Wars universe, it's only the Camino people that clone.
They're the best cloners.
Okay, fair enough.
How they're referenced. So that I don't know.
That's right. I sort of retract that statement.
Again, I don't.
But
right,
they may not be the only ones.
I do know that the impression I got, at least from George Lucas's Star Wars, was that cloning was extremely regulated. And like it was banned except for those whose livelihoods, like Camino, would be decimated if cloning were to go away. So that's kind of the idea behind Camino being allowed to do what it did once the Republic, or once the Empire when the Republic was still in charge before they became the Empire. Yeah, the Empire then took Camino and said, yeah, no, we're going to use you to pump out a lot of stormtroopers. But like Qui-Gon Jinn and those kinds of things, Obi-Wan Kenobi would have frowned upon, and did, Camino, in that sense of, that's not what the Republic would have stood for. It was happening outside of the Republic eyes. They're not part of the Republic, and they don't follow their rules.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, I don't. But there is, what's interesting is there's a patch, the doctor who's in here who wants to study and research the child who is force sensitive. He has a patch on his uniform that is exactly like the patch from Camino. So when the clones, remember when they're having those kind of composite shots of showing the clones at different ages doing different things, they're eating lunch and they're fighting, and they're kids, and then they're teenagers, and then they're adults. They had that sort of progressional.
Yes, they have that patch on them.
So as they're sitting there doing the computers, it's on the shoulder. You see a patch that's very reminiscent of what the patch Dr. Pershing is wearing in The Mandalorian, which indicates that he's a cloner. So, yeah, there's been this connection since that was seen in season 1, which people have been talking about, which is kind of cool.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're doing Dark Force, if they're combining Dark Forces and Dark Empire. I don't know. Spartan Flash. What's going on, man? They learned it from Watto. Okay.
Whatever happened to Watto?
He got old and died, dude.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith, he was rough.
It's like the last time we saw Watto was Attack of the Clones.
Revenge of the Sith.
Was
they go back? They go back to Tatooine.
I do not remember seeing Watto in Revenge of the Sith.
Remember, he's old as all hell.
Yeah, I remember seeing him in Attack of the Clones, not Revenge of the Smith.
Was that Attack of the...
Yeah. The last time we saw...
that's right. That's right.
And he wasn't... I don't think he looked... Yeah, he wasn't necessarily older, but he was scruffier. He lost one of his teeth.
He looked rough.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. It was Attack of the Clones.
10 years.
Right, because he doesn't recognize him, and they go back there to find his mom and track her down and do all that stuff. That's right.
I don't know.
Getting them all confused. It's been a while, man. Okay. Did you that's pretty much it for chapter 12. Right. So the next couple should go fairly quickly, but the interesting thing is that this was one of the most impressive and least talked about episodes of season 2.
13.
And I said yes. Yeah. No, 12. The one we were just talking about. Yeah. The reason it was impressive was visually and what they were able to do, and I liked the idea of what Carl Weathers wanted to accomplish with the effects, and he kept it simple. You could tell that he's not as experienced with computer generated directing for computer generated, graphics as some of these other directors who have done other things with the show. But with that being said, I think he did much like Bryce, because Bryce Howard, Ron Howard's daughter, she directed an episode in season 1. And it was like a filler episode that was kind of like, eh. And so that's what people were thinking Carl's episode was going to be.
So it's just filler.
Right. So people were like, oh, this is Carl's episode. So when people went into it, it was like, oh, okay. Because it was kind of like right on. It was kind of fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was different from what we were expecting, which was I thought anyways, a nice surprise. So that was cool. And then the next one was written and directed by Dave Filoni.
No, God, yes.
So this is The Jedi. That's the title of it. Chapter 13, The Jedi. And this is the one Ahsoka shows up in.
Of course it is.
Right. So this is the one he writes and directs. And, Jon Favreau just sort of apparently let him just do his thing. And did you see this episode? You haven't seen it. Okay. I take that back. We need to I
heard about it.
We need to get you now that the season's over. So in a few hours, the season will be over. So now that the season's over, you cheap ass, spend $7 and watch 8 episodes. It's less than $1 an episode, dude. I'm telling you.
But there's a thing that it's not worth the investment for me.
I understand.
That's really the thing. If there was more on Disney Plus,
it's not an investment. You're blowing it. Eating Taco Bell is not an investment, but yet you're spending money on it.
I don't eat Taco Bell, so I don't have to worry.
Whatever food you eat that you view as being less than healthy, it's just fuel, right? I'm hungry, but I got shit to do. That's kind of where I go with Taco Bell. It's fast. It's relatively cheap. And
it's fuel, all right.
It's fuel. It's not. It's food-ish. It replicates food close enough.
It's
hot, kind of cheesy.
It's kind of what happens when you clone a cow.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my God.
But whatever it may be. My point is it's not Chick-fil-A or Carl's Jr. or Hardee's or whatever, where it's like $7 for just a sandwich. You know what I mean? It's none of that stuff. That's all I meant.
I don't know. That's the only thing. I don't want to pay just to. I don't really want to invest in it just to watch one series and then not, get it again. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Although I probably do have to watch season 1 of I do want to catch up on the Clone Wars or something.
All I'm saying is I'm sure someone you know. I'm sure someone you know is already paying for it. And I'm just reiterating, they don't have a device limit.
Yeah.
And you take that for whatever it means. However you take it is your... So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, just roll with it. But so what did Ahsoka bring to the fucking Mandalorian? I mean, Cowboy, of course, Cowboy Ryan Johnson brought her in because, and yeah, I'm calling him Cowboy Ryan Johnson because he looks like Ryan Johnson with a fucking cowboy hat. I'm not gonna. I know making fun or dissing Filoni is like fucking blasphemous in this community, but I don't give a shit. I don't fillet Filoni. I like that rhyme scheme, by the way. Fillet Filoni. Rolls off the tongue. But it's just like I don't. It's like this guy.
Oh no, we could have a show just on that. Dude.
I don't mind. Look, I don't mind Ahsoka being what she is in the Clone Wars, right? But for fuck's sake, dude, you know, with the way. And I didn't watch Clone Wars, but I watched and I did watch the fight between her and Maul.
Oh right.
In the end, and it's like, look, you had Maul corner her and effectively beat her. Why didn't you?
Is this season 7? Is this the last? I didn't see that one.
Oh, you didn't?
See that season. Nah.
Oh, do you mind spoilers?
Oh, I don't give a shit.
Okay. Well, basically, from what I've seen, they duel, and Maul effectively beats her into a corner because he's more powerful. He's been alive longer. He's more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And you know. Basically, he has her cornered, but he doesn't kill her, obviously. But it's also like, yeah, okay, Maul beats her down and has her cornered. She's pretty much in one position, just escape. And for whatever fucking reason, instead of doing that, they had it so Maul did another stupid attack, and Ahsoka, because fucking ass pull, does this, like, grabs his saber and does this little magical twirl and throws him off of whatever beam she was standing on. So she effectively wins the fight by default because she throws Maul off the edge. I'm like, fuck off. Like no, fuck off. It's like ass pull of the fucking century. But it's just like, what did she bring to the Mandalorian? I don't get it.
Well, because, okay, so from her progression from the Clone Wars to Rebels, to the Mandalorian, is ultimately sort of like 3 cycles. So at the end of Rebels, she's beginning her 3rd cycle, which is where we also find her in the Mandalorian. So she's already begun that journey of Gandalf the White. So she's transitioned from gray to white, if that analogy makes sense to you. And so her journey now is going to be different than what it was when she was a Padawan, which is different from what it was when she was Ahsoka the Grey. Okay. So, but that's essentially, I mean, that's essentially where we're at. So now she represents at this moment in time, based off of who we know in just this limited scope of Mando's world, is the Jedi used to fight the Mandalorians back in the day. There was a great war. And the Jedi didn't really ever view the Mandalorians as being peaceful. Like they always had a hard time with the Mandalorians from that point forward. And so the journey of Mando to bring this child who's Force sensitive back to his, again, quote unquote, people, we're supposed to say, okay, well, does that mean Jedi or does that mean Yoda species? What people is he bringing him back to, type thing? Is he bringing him back to a temple? The show needs to go on for that to sort of be seen, but he needs to return him. And that's kind of the pact going back to the first season, where the armorer tells him, you now have this mission. Your mission, your honor is now bound to this child. You are now one. You now have to return. View him as your child. He shall view you as his father, kind of relationship, right? This bond. Well, it's like a Mandalorian pledge. Fast forward to your question. So that's what's driving the Mandalorian to find the child's people. And in the episode that I'm about to talk about, hold on just a second. Yeah, that's what I thought. He has been told, so you know that Katie Hackoff is now in this, Sackhoff, she's in the show, right? You know that she plays a character on the show, Bo-Katan.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay, Katie Sackhoff is the chick from Battlestar Galactica, the reboot. She played Starbuck. Did you ever watch that show? You're gonna say no. Yep. Are you sure you're in the right? Are you sure you're in the right community? We need to make sure.
Katie Sackhoff. What are you talking about? The right? Wait, what? Because I never seen. What did you say? What was the show?
Battlestar Galactica.
Never watched it. Never watched it. I'm in the right community because I enjoy Star Wars, but when it comes to like mostly sci-fi stuff, I just kind of tune out. It's really odd because I love Star Wars for what it is, but anything else I don't have an interest in. I'm just like everybody's talking about Star Trek or Star Trek. Fucking Christ. Star Trek and Stargate and Atlantis and all of these, and I'm like a goat looking at a watch. I just like.
There's a ton of them, dude. There's an absolute ton of them. Shit, even The Expanse. You'd probably like The Expanse. The Expanse is more. That's on Amazon. Do you got Amazon?
Fuck no.
So you don't have Amazon Prime like for free shipping and stuff, because that comes free. Amazon Video comes free with it.
Yeah, I don't order much from Amazon anymore, so I don't have it.
Well, never mind then. No, but it's a show. So The Expanse is basically, it was a series that was written, a series of books, which goes over it's science fiction, yes, but it deals with not only the origins but the whys of the universe. And so it's I would say adult Star Trek. So the kids, the characters are all flawed.
Right.
Some extremely so. But they are all beautiful together. And it is truly it's a fantastic show. I'm sure you could torrent or whatever those episodes, I'm sure, because they're on Blu-ray.
Was it ever released on sanctioned television?
No. The rights are owned by, actually, did it start off? I think it started off on Sci-Fi, to tell you the truth.
The Expanse.
And then Amazon, I think that's what happened. Then Amazon picked it up for season 3. Someone in the chat, if you're still there.
American science fiction developed based on.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was Sci-Fi, and then for season it was going to get canceled. Yeah. And then Amazon bought it for season 3 and did season 3, season 4, and then season 5 came out today.
Season 5 of The Expanse?
Yeah, came out today. So as soon as I'm done with Mando, I'm going to go sleep, and then I'm going to wake up and I'm going to watch 3 episodes of The Expanse, because today they dropped 3 episodes that I haven't been able to watch it.
I see it here, yeah.
But it's a really good show.
Sci-Fi did 3 seasons, and Amazon picked up 4 and 5.
Oh, 4 and 5. Okay. but where I saw it, I saw all of them on Amazon. So yeah, it was fantastic.
It was a cable show, so I don't have cable.
But you can tell when it shifted from Sci-Fi to Amazon, like you could tell that it got off cable. Like Sci-Fi is like hard PG-13 maybe.
Yeah.
But when it went, because there were some episodes that were MA-17 or mature or whatever it was. So there were certain episodes where it's like the fuck. So they like really made it Amazon Video worthy. And you know, what would these space pirates actually say to each other instead of golly gee willikers or whatever you're able to say on Sci-Fi Channel? So yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I want to get into the books because I heard the books were, of course, fantastic.
The books are always better argument.
Yeah, and the way that I'm doing it now, looking at used books, it's fun. Not only is the adventure of trying to hunt that stuff down, but you get some good ass deals, dude.
Okay.
Let's see.
But back to Mando, right? That's what we're.
Yeah, back to Mando. So pretty much right. The idea behind it was that so he does an adventure, he gets a little information, he does an adventure, gets a little information, and Katie Sackhoff's character basically says you have to go see Ahsoka. She's on this planet. And so he spends an episode like journeying to go to that planet. And then now in this episode, he's on the planet. Anyways. Oh shit. Oh no, there it is. All right. So basically the whole thing comes down to it really felt like a black and white samurai movie. Those old sort of very misty, very like just
like an old 60s samurai film, like the old
man, like
the old Kurosawa.
Kurosawa.
Yeah, Kurosawa.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I felt. Like when I first saw it, that was the first imagery that kind of popped into my mind, you know? And that's kind of how the whole thing felt. They may not know who Ahsoka was when she's introduced in the show, but they do a pretty good job of kind of catching you up real quick. And so I thought that the episode was done really well in the sense that a character of magnitude within the fandom was introduced relatively low key, meaning that it's not like in a finale.
Yeah, it wasn't fanfare.
Right, but she is a plot point that she becomes part of the narrative that pushes our characters towards their goal, towards their MacGuffin. And so she's able to give some exposition as to what it means for this child to not only explain to the Mandalorian, who's never seen a Jedi, who doesn't know what this whole wizardry shit is, but she's explaining to him, but she's also explaining to people like my wife, who doesn't know a whole lot about the lore, the key points they need to know in order to push this story forward. You don't have to get into all that other shit, just this story forward type thing. So I thought anyways, they did a really good job of sort of simplifying her importance and then reinforcing what she could be to the child, which is then a mentor. At this point, we haven't seen a Luke Skywalker. We haven't heard mention of Luke Skywalker. There's no indication that Ahsoka even knows Luke Skywalker's alive. So we've only seen her for this episode in this time frame. Because the last time we saw her at this juncture in time was at the end of Rebels, remember? that flash forward to right after the end of Return of the Jedi. So it was 5 years after the end of Return of the Jedi is the Mandalorian's time frame. And so she's getting ready to start her own adventure with Sabine at the end of Rebels. And Dave Filoni has made reference to the fact that the episode in Mando takes place before the last episode of Rebels.
Huh?
So they kind of switch it back and forth.
So wait, the last episode of I've never watched Rebels.
You've never watched Rebels?
It was on cable. I don't have cable.
Right, but it's on video and shit. It's elsewhere now. That's where I was at.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
But yeah, that's the thing, is that she's shown at the end of Rebels, she's shown to they make a point, like over during a voiceover, that it's 5 years after the end of Return of the Jedi. She makes some key character points as to these are the different characters from the show that participated in the events at Endor and blah blah blah. But the whole thing is that Ahsoka and a couple other characters go off in search of Thrawn and Ezra. So Ezra's been taken by Thrawn. No. Ezra was on board Thrawn's ship, and Ezra caused Thrawn's ship to go into hyperdrive, and they have assumed they went into the unknown regions. And so 5 years later, they're still looking for Ezra. And so as Rebels is ending, Ahsoka's beginning, quote unquote, her new adventure, which Dave Filoni had said he's pretty much alluding to the fact that that's the direction the Ahsoka show is probably going to go, because it'll take place in this timeline, the same timeline as Mandalorian. So, yes, fun stuff.
I will say this: I think it would probably ruin canon if Ahsoka and Luke ever actually met. Just because I don't, just because you never, but in contrast with the other films, you never see him mention.
Not now, it wouldn't. If he met her during the course of the OT, then I would say yes. But from Mandalorian forward, all bets are off, because it's never been dealt. It's a completely different timeline at this point. So once Disney buys Lucasfilm, and all the EU books go away, and all we have is the movies.
Yeah.
As soon as Return of the Jedi ends, that's it. Disney can write its own story. And its own story begins with she could meet him after Return of the Jedi, but before he starts his academy.
Right.
With Ben. Because Ben's his first student. And that's what leads him, because he's reluctant to begin a new academy. But then Leia asks him to train Ben, which he then does, which leads to him building an academy.
Reluctant to
a temple.
A new academy. I don't.
Right. Well, he didn't.
I remember in the EU, he pretty much leaned into that and started creating, creating a new Jedi Order.
No, he didn't, because it was the whole Thrawn thing. He went through a series of adventures as like the lone Jedi that he was like, fuck this. So he went through, there were several books where he was it that we knew of.
He didn't eventually create an academy.
He did, but he didn't believe that he didn't know if he was the one to do it.
Right.
He didn't think he had enough in him. He was always doubtful, and he always approached being the Grand Master as he's not omnipotent, because I think even in the EU, they were already alluding to the fact that the Jedi have made mistakes in the past, and the new Jedi Order was going to be wholly different from Yoda's Jedi Order.
Right.
So
I don't know. I thought at one point that so at some point in the EU, he actually did eventually succeed in creating a new Jedi Order.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, based off of his character,
he did, but it wasn't like until 10, 12 years after the end of Return of the Jedi.
Right.
In the books.
Because one of the games I played, the Jedi Academy game,
Mm-hmm. That's
and you know, which I know was well after Return of the Jedi and everything. But
yeah, that was
know,
fun. That was a fun game.
That was a good game. It was a good game. It was.
Oh, that was on Yavin, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on Yavin 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, when did that come out? 2005. Oh god, I feel old.
What?
I don't know when.
Oh, it seems longer than that. Jeez.
Jedi,
at least to me.
Jedi Academy.
It was.
It was 2003. Holy shit.
2003.
2000. Yeah, because I was in high school.
Holy crap.
I say, was I in high school? Oh fuck, I don't remember if I was or not. I think I might have been in middle school. Oh god. Jesus.
I actually
but
shit.
What?
Nope. So I want to thank you for your time, sir, for coming on tonight, because it appears that I have to get going. This is not going to turn out to be what I thought it was going to be. Something has occurred that requires my immediate attention, and so I need to excuse myself. I appreciate your time. I had fun as always. It was a joy of seeing you again, my friend.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. If you do this more often, just
absolutely. I mean, yeah. Life be damned, because it seems to be getting in my way a lot. But I want to thank you for your time. We've got about an hour and a half, which is pretty good. But we didn't quite accomplish what I was wanting to accomplish tonight. But that is okay, because as we all know, life gets in the way, and I have to get going. So I want to thank everybody for stopping by. I want to thank Atlantean, Kitty Bear, Spartan Flash. You guys are fantastic. Dig the chat. I appreciate everybody stopping by. You guys be cool. You enjoy the rest of the week. And in 4.5 short hours, this guy won't be watching it, but maybe I will be. So
this guy will be asleep for work tomorrow.
You know what? After I just got texted on, I probably I have a long night ahead of me. I probably won't see this thing until tomorrow afternoon, to tell you the truth. So, but thank you guys for showing up. I really appreciate it. And you guys be cool. Take care, and I will see you later.